No question, no lies, I'm a boss bitch. And I God, I'ma grind till my heart quits. Is she hungry for the money? Is she's all in? Is she no slave? And she gonna win. Big bands to the side, ain't no losses. Stack bands, no ties, except for my kid. Only thing that's on her mind is to be rich. And she no slave, and she gonna win. No sleep, no sleep, no sleep. No sleep, no sleep, no sleep. Yeah, she hungry for the money, yeah, she's all in. Cause she no slave.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Phoenix Novell, and thank you again for tuning in to another Boss Bitch Tips episode. This episode is titled, You Teach People How to Treat You. Have you ever had an experience where somebody was angry or going through something and they were maybe taking it out on you, and then somebody else walked into the room, or they had to step outside and you saw them interact with somebody else and their disposition was completely changed? Have you ever done that? I have, and I've seen people do that too. And I think in me observing how we act differently towards different people, even if we're going through something, even if we're sad, or even if we're angry or pissed off, we can perk up real fast when somebody else's energy is around, and I noticed that. I'm just like, well, damn, no, it's relative. It's relative to what you think about that other person. It's relative to how that other person makes you feel, and so when I kind of like turn this towards my personal relationships, I had to really take a long, hard look at myself and the things that I allowed people to say or do, or things that I did or said, or people allow me to say and do, and realize that they taught me that it was okay to treat them that way, or I taught them that it was okay to treat me a kind of way that I didn't like. So me staying is just me basically continuing to perpetuate that that energy that it's okay, that this is okay. So arguing or being mad about what it is that you don't like isn't going to change it. Like, you just have to, you got to let go of a situation that's not working for you. You have to walk away. You let people know, this is what I accept, this is what I will tolerate, this is what I won't tolerate. I remember I used to be chronically late, going over to see an ex-boyfriend of mine. And, when you get comfortable, it's just like, I don't know, like sometimes you just don't prioritize, or you think, oh, they won't mind, or this ain't no big deal. And I remember, like, he started just like not answering the phone when I got there, or he would call me beforehand and say, what's your ETA, what's going on? And I'm like, damn, like this dude is real. But he was trying to condition me to be a woman of my word. If you say you're going to be here at this time, then show up at this time. Because if you don't, then you have me waiting for you, and you have me feeling that you don't really value my time, right? So you might think it's nothing of it, because like what? You think, well, it don't really matter. But it's their job now to let you know that it does. Just like it's your job to let your partner know, or your boss, or a friend, or anybody who you feel like is not valuing you or treating you the way you want to be treated. It's your job to let them know that you don't like something. And it's also your job to learn to teach yourself not to be afraid to let people walk out of your life that are not willing to treat you the way that you deserve to be treated. Right? This is something that we all have to deal with. But you walk away from things that you know you don't deserve. Like, you walk away from bad behavior, because look, there's times where we all probably should have walked away and we didn't, and usually that don't really turn out the way we thought it would by staying, right? So we've learned, all right, turning around and just basically acting like that doesn't bother me doesn't get me what I want either in the long run. I've been the same. It's been done to me where I've been treated like people could just say whatever they wanted to say or do whatever they wanted to do. And I'm the kind of person that I don't tell you twice how to treat me. If I don't like something, I tell you once, like this, real clear, real open, real honest. You know what, I didn't like when you said that, you know, and I thought about it for a minute, and I said, you know what, sometimes you have to go with it and say, am I being too sensitive? And even if you are, you still can tell a person that this is how I feel about this. They may think you're being too sensitive, you may think you're being too sensitive, but it doesn't change the way you feel about it. So until you decide to feel something else about it, you have to be honest about what you're feeling. And if they say, why are you so sensitive? Then, again, they can say, listen, I think that you might be a little too sensitive. It's the delivery, too. If a person like, damn, I can't say nothing because you're so sensitive, then they're not really taking into consideration your emotional well-being. They're thinking that they don't want to change. So they want to kind of like, in a subtle, maybe not so subtle, in an indirect, or kind of like bully you into feeling like something's wrong with you for feeling what you feel. That ain't going to work either. Because in the long run, there's gonna be resentment, and you're gonna start probably doing things to make them feel bad because they made you feel bad. And it's just, again, not gonna land you in a healthy relationship in any way. You teach people how to treat you by showing them your value, by acting, you know, the way that you, acting in a way that commands respect, acting in a way that commands people to think twice about coming out of their face sideways and disrespecting you. You know, you can tell what a person's intention is. And again, even somebody who, let's say for instance, I used to have an issue with the word bitch, you know, and a lot of people say it in a way that's just like real cool. You know that they don't really mean anything by it. But I used to have an issue with it because I didn't want that to be a part of my experience. I didn't want it to be something that I started doing because everybody else was doing it, and I didn't want it to be something that I ever felt comfortable identifying with. But I remember it was 2 separate occasions. One occasion, my old band leader, he would say it. Like if I would say, for instance, if I would get cocky about something playfully, or we were playing a game and I was winning, he'd be like, bitch. And then, you know, at one point I was just like, you know, I really don't like that word. I really, you know, he's like, I could tell, I saw your response. And I'm like, yeah, so please, if it's okay, could you not say it, you know? And I think for a minute he tried to refrain, but then he started doing it again. And I reminded him. And he's like, oh, come on, you know, chill out or whatever. And I let that, you know, him telling me to chill out and kind of basically showing me that he really didn't give a damn about what I wanted, I let that push me away from him. Completely took it personal because I'm like, you know what? You're not respecting me. Was he a cool guy? Yes. Was he playing? Yes. But I was being so rigid that I could not allow myself to even want to be in his presence. I'm like, you know, you can't respect my wishes, and fuck you. Like, I was kind of more rigid than I wanted to be. And I was like that for a while until I met another associate of mine, another female singer. And I remember first meeting her, like the first day she joined one of my bands, and she was just like, bitch, hey girl, like it was her demeanor. It was all love. I could feel that there was nothing in it that was just malicious or I'm gonna try to tear you down. There was nothing like that, but I still had that desire well up in me to say, hey, I don't want you to come, you know what I'm saying? Like I had that thing in me where I wanted to be like, yeah, you know, correct it before it became a habit. And I remember when I did it, that I felt finally the weight of, like that feeling of, are you going to allow this word to have that much power over you? Like for the rest of your life, are you going to make things awkward with people, especially that you know are not disrespecting you in any way? And it was in that moment that I decided to own and embrace and reframe what the word bitch meant for me. You know, so I wrote a book called The Boss Bitch Playbook. This is called Boss Bitch Tips because I redefined what bitch meant to me. And so even now, if I'm called a bitch or called out of my name, it doesn't affect me that way because I know that I'm bigger than the word. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was just a slave to it. It's like, you know, you can just control me by saying it, and then I feel the need to correct you. So I in that sense, I was teaching them how to treat me, but I also recognized that I was crippling myself unnecessarily. So sometimes on the flip side of this, you also have to examine yourself and examine why you do certain things, why you say certain things, why you feel the way you feel about certain things, because this may help you understand why a person is treating you a certain way, because you might not really see things clear. You might not really see how you are being perceived by others. Not saying that your feelings aren't valid. Not saying that what your experiences that caused you to feel this way don't matter, or that they're small. Not diminishing that, but the more aware you are of what kind of controls you, of these triggers, of this bondage that you're holding yourself in because of the way a person is treating you, because of the way you're projecting yourself, the more aware you'll be of learning that you can step out of that prison for yourself, right? So now, since I've redefined what bitch means, I teach people that I'm comfortable and confident that their words only have as much power over me that I give them, right? So I'm no longer a slave. But before, I'm like, don't da 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 da. So then it made the other person, I guess, feel like, well, she's teaching me that she's sensitive. She's teaching me that this word triggers her. Now, they can take that either way they want to, and they can use it to trigger you because they know that it has power over you, or they can say, okay, I won't touch her triggers, I won't touch her sore spots, and then now they're awkward with you because they feel like you're so sensitive, right? Or they're genuinely trying to be careful with you, but even with that, it's like, are you going to live your life like that, where you're tiptoeing through, right? So work on yourself, know who you are, understand what makes you act a certain way, and you'll be more aware of how others perceive you. Now, some people are just assholes, and they're going to try to take jabs and take shots at you, and then you have to make it clear of what your boundaries are. And then sometimes, hey, this ain't the kind of relationship I want. I'm done, whatever. Sometimes it's just that cut and dry. But I wanted to hit you with multiple ways to look at this, because if you allow a person to disrespect you, if you allow people to treat you any kind of way they want to, and you don't stand up for yourself and make it clear what your standards and your boundaries are, then you can't be mad at the treatment, because you're teaching them that it's okay if you don't say anything. Like, you can, but waiting long down the line to finally say, I'm going to stand up, it doesn't work in your favor, because they're going to say, well, all of a sudden you don't like this, when you never did, but you never wanted to say anything because you didn't want to stir the pot, but yet you were keeping it inside, right? So teach people your values, teach people what's okay, what's not okay, and be okay for them to walk away. Be okay for them to tell you, well, I can't live with that. Be fine with that. Or compromise and say, all right, you know what, maybe I can work on this, assess the situation. Are they genuinely coming from a place of like, hey, I can't meet those standards. How can we make this work? And then it's your job to assess how important a person is in your life. But never ever settle. Never ever get to that place where you believe that you have no control over how people treat you. Little children have to deal with that. And even them, some children will tell you off in a second. But parents can be a little aggressive because they're like, I brought you in this world, I can take you out. As a grown woman, as a young adult, you can stand up and say, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate that. I don't deserve that. I don't need that. This isn't working for me. How can we come to a common ground so that we can coexist? Or is it better that we just don't? So hopefully these tips helped you guys. Hopefully it inspires some of you out there to understand that you don't have to be a victim to somebody's behavior just because that's how they are. You can teach them that they can be how they are, but they can't be any old kind of way with you, right? Because you ain't having it. All right. So if you guys have any topic ideas or questions, or you want to even collaborate with me and do videos together, make sure to email me at askthebawse@gmail.com. That's ASKTHEBAWSE@gmail.com. Stay tuned for the next episode. Peace.
Right to my heart quits. Is she hungry for the money? Is she's all in? Is she no slave? And she go